Fellow soil enthusiasts, let's talk about something that's been weighing on my mind lately. Every spring, I watch gardeners load their carts with bags of premium potting soil, spending hundreds of dollars on what's essentially dead matter in plastic bags. Meanwhile, right beneath our feet lies the blueprint for creating the most nutrient-dense, water-retentive, and biologically active growing medium you could ever imagine. It's time we stopped treating soil like a commodity and started nurturing it like the living ecosystem it truly is. After years of building and regenerating soil across different climates and conditions, I've learned that the secret isn't in what you buy, it's in what you build. Today, I'm sharing the permaculture approach to creating living soil that will transform not just your garden, but your entire relationship with growing food. Before we dive into the how-to, let's understand what we're actually building. Living soil isn't just dirt with some nutrients mixed in. It's a complex ecosystem teeming with billions of microorganisms, fungi, bacteria, and countless other soil creatures that work together in perfect harmony. When you pick up a handful of healthy soil, you're literally holding more life than there are people on Earth. Store-bought soil, no matter how expensive, lacks this biological diversity. It's been sterilized, bagged, and sitting on shelves for months. The microorganisms that make soil truly functional have long since died or gone dormant. You're essentially starting with a blank slate, or worse, a sterile medium that your plants have to struggle to make sense of. In contrast, living soil is self-regulating, self-feeding, and incredibly resilient. It holds moisture like a sponge during dry spells, drains perfectly during heavy rains, and provides a steady supply of nutrients that plants can access exactly when they need them. This is what we're building toward. The beautiful thing about building living soil is that you can start anywhere, with almost anything. Whether you're working with clay, sand, or even contaminated urban soil, the principles remain the same. We're going to work with nature, not against it. First, stop digging. I know this goes against everything you might have learned, but constant tilling destroys the soil structure and disrupts the fungal networks that are essential for plant health. Instead, we're going to build up, layer by layer, mimicking how nature creates soil in forests and prairies. Start by laying down cardboard or thick layers of newspaper directly on top of your existing soil. This suppresses weeds without using chemicals and eventually breaks down to feed soil organisms. Make sure to overlap the edges and remove any tape or staples. Water this layer thoroughly. You want it saturated but not swimming. Now comes the fun part, building your soil layers. Think of this like making a giant lasagna. But instead of pasta and cheese, we're using organic materials that will decompose at different rates and feed different soil organisms. Your next layer should be greens, nitrogen-rich materials like fresh grass clippings, kitchen scraps, no meat or dairy, or fresh manure if you can source it safely. Spread this about 2 inches thick. The key here is moisture and freshness. These materials will heat up as they decompose, kickstarting the biological processes we want. Follow this with browns, carbon-rich materials like dried leaves, straw, wood chips, or shredded paper. This layer should be about 4 inches thick. Browns provide structure and food for fungi, which are absolutely crucial for long-term soil health. They also help regulate moisture and prevent your green materials from becoming smelly or anaerobic. Continue alternating these layers, always ending with browns on top. The total depth should be at least 8 inches, but 12 to 18 inches is even better if you have the materials. Remember, this will compress significantly as it decomposes. Here's where most gardening advice falls short. They focus on feeding plants instead of feeding soil. In living soil, we feed the microorganisms, and they take care of feeding the plants. It's a much more sustainable and effective approach. Compost is your best friend here, but not just any compost. You want compost that's rich in microbial life. If you're buying compost, look for suppliers who understand soil biology. They'll often mention mycorrhizal fungi, beneficial bacteria, or active microorganisms. Better yet, make your own using a variety of materials including woody debris, which feeds the fungi that most plants depend on. Worm castings are another incredible addition. Earthworms are essentially soil processing machines, and their castings are perfectly balanced nutrition that plants can access immediately. If you're not already vermicomposting, consider starting a worm bin. It's easier than you think, and provides a constant supply of this black gold. Don't overlook the power of cover crops, even in small spaces. Crimson clover, winter rye, and buckwheat can be grown in containers or small beds specifically to chop and drop as living mulch. These plants pull nutrients from deep in the soil or even from the air in the case of legumes, and make them available to your food crops. This is where building living soil gets really exciting. we're going to introduce the microscopic helpers that make everything work. Mycorrhizal fungi are particularly important. These organisms form symbiotic relationships with plant roots, extending their reach and helping them access nutrients and water from much larger areas. You can purchase mycorrhizal inoculants, but nature provides them for free if you know where to look. Collect soil from healthy forest floors, especially around oak, maple, or pine trees. These soils are rich in the fungi and bacteria that your garden plants evolved alongside. Mix small amounts of this forest soil into your building layers. Compost tea is another incredible way to boost microbial activity. Brew it by steeping quality compost in water for 48 hours with a little molasses to feed the microorganisms. Apply this tea to your soil layers as you build them. It's like adding starter culture to bread dough. Water management in living soil is completely different from conventional gardening. Instead of frequent shallow watering that encourages weak root systems, we want to create soil that holds moisture deeply and releases it slowly. The organic matter we're building into our soil acts like countless tiny sponges. Well-built living soil can hold up to 20 times more water than conventional soil. This means less watering for you and more consistent moisture for your plants, even during dry periods. When you do water, water deeply and less frequently. This encourages roots to grow down into the rich soil you've created, rather than staying shallow where they're vulnerable to heat and drought. The mulch layer on top prevents evaporation and keeps soil temperatures stable. Building living soil requires a shift in mindset. We're used to instant results, but soil building is a process that unfolds over months and years. The good news is that you'll start seeing benefits almost immediately, and the soil will continue improving for years. Watch for signs that your soil is coming alive, earthworms moving through the layers, mushrooms appearing after rain, and plants that look healthier and more vigorous than you've ever grown before. The soil will start to smell different too, rich and earthy, like a forest floor. Don't be tempted to dig into your layers to check on progress. Soil organisms don't like to be disturbed, and you'll disrupt the networks they're building. Trust the process and let nature do what it does best. Building living soil isn't just about growing better vegetables, it's about reclaiming your role as a steward of the land. Every square foot of living soil you create is sequestering carbon, filtering water, and providing habitat for countless beneficial organisms. You're not just feeding your family, you're healing the earth. The investment you make in building living soil pays dividends for years. While your neighbors are buying bags of dead soil every spring, you'll be harvesting from earth that gets richer and more productive with each passing season. Ready to start your own soil transformation? I'd love to hear about your experiences and see your progress. Drop a comment below sharing your biggest soil challenge or your latest soil building success. And if this article helped you see soil in a new way, make sure to subscribe to Soil Sage Chronicles for more deep dives into the amazing world beneath our feet. Share this with a fellow gardener who's ready to ditch the bagged soil and build something truly alive. Because the more of us growing and living soil, the healthier our communities and our planet become.